All right, so we're covering 2 sections today, but we have one goal, and is to be able to find geometric terms. So it's like your shortest notes ever, because it's just vocab, all right? So make sure you take these vocab down so that you have them to help you on the Google form assignment that is aligned with it. So here we go. First one we're going to define is called a point. A point has no dimension, and it is represented by a dot. Okay, so a point looks a little something, something like this. And if we're talking about naming a point, you name a point literally by the letter that is associated with that dot. So this would be point A. Okay, a line. A line has one dimension, and it is represented by a line with 2 arrowheads. Okay, so it looks a little something, something like this. Now, how we name a line. There are multiple ways you can name a line. The first way is by identifying 2 dots on that line. So this, we have dot B and dot C, so we could call this line BC. Do you notice the symbol that I put above my points? That makes it an actual line. You could also call it line CB. Order of the points do not matter. Now also, sometimes you'll see a line and it'll have a lowercase, cursive, or italicized letter at the end. That is another name for it. We could call this line D. Okay? I like that color. That's pretty. All right, a plane has 2 dimensions. Okay, it is represented by something that looks like a floor or a box. So it looks a little something, something like this. So that's a plane. So if you're thinking, okay, what is a plane since it's 2-dimensional in the real world? A plane would be your walls in your room, or a plane would be the ceiling or the floor, okay? So a plane is going to be a flat surface that is like a sheet of paper. It's got dimension to it. It's got 2 dimensions, but it's not ever going to have 3 dimensions. Think of a plane. It's kind of like whenever the first Mario Brothers video game came out back forever ago when it was with Duck Hunt. You remember how flat Mario was? He was 2-dimensional. He was on a plane. Okay? Now, to name a plane, now you want to look for 3 points. So this is plane E, F, G. And again, order of points do not matter. So it could be GFE, it could be FEG, it could be anything you need it to be. Now, another way to name it is sometimes you'll see a bold capital letter in the corner. So this could also be called plane H. All right? So those are our first 3 vocabulary terms we talked about. A point, a line, and a plane. All right? Now, collinear and coplanar. Collinear, the key word here is line. Okay, these are points on the same line. So if they're all on the same line, they're collinear. Okay, coplanar. All right, keyword plane. Points on the same plane. Okay, so if you have a plane, there's all these points on it, they are coplanar. If you were in the room with me while I was describing this, I will let you know that all of you were going to be coplanar because you were all on the same floor, and if you were a point. All right, 2 more vocab words, and then guess what? You're already done with this week's lesson. All right, a segment. This is a line with endpoints. And endpoints are going to be points that actually stop the segment. It actually determines an actual length You see, in a line, we have these arrows. These arrows mean that the line is continuous. It can continue to go and be as long as it needs to be. But a segment has specific points that stop it, known as the endpoints. And whenever you name a segment, it can only be named by its actual endpoints. So even if there was other points on this segment, the ones that are on the very ends are the names. So this could be segment JK or segment KJ. Now, do you see the difference in what I put above them for the names? This doesn't have arrows like the other one because this represents segment, while this represents line. Okay? All right. And our last vocab word for today is array. This is a line with one endpoint. Looks like an arrow. Okay? So it's a line with one endpoint. So we have an endpoint. And since we said it's a line, that means it's continuous on one side. See how it looks like an arrow? Now, naming array is very particular. So when you name array, it is always going to be named like this. It's going to be, okay, your symbol for array, and then right here would be your endpoint, always and forever, while right here, any point on the line. If I can spell. All right, so if we're looking at the example I've drawn here, our endpoint, where it actually stops, is M. So that's going to be labeled first. And then any other point on the array, well, we have point N. So that would be the name of our array. All right, make sure you've written these notes down. You need to complete the Google form, that is assignment 2, and make sure you also submit a picture of these notes or proof of notes being taken. This is a grade, okay? Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your week.